Hey, what's good with y'all? I hope everybody's doing well out here. I just wanted to take this time to thank those who have been returning to listen to the material. I know it's been a minute. I know people have probably been asking what's going on. A lot of events transpired since the last time I did a video, but I just want to say thank you as always for tuning in and to passing and sharing material. Continue to put this information out to those who need it. For those who are new, I just want to say welcome to the Rebuilding Community Trust family. This site is designed to help those to educate, encourage, to be empowered to study and to learn about what's going on around you in your communities, criminal justice reform with law enforcement and things of that nature. A lot of topics, a lot of things I want to talk about today. I want to share some information, talk about some of the current events, and kind of expound on some of the different topics that I came up with as I sort of sat down and got a chance to review and look at the things around us according to what it is. First thing first, I want to pray for Chadwick Boseman family. Just found out the news about his passing. One of the most inspirational actors of this time. I've saw a lot of his movies. I'm sure everybody know about him as far as what he did in Black Panther and some of the 42, some of the movies about African Americans, some of the greatest African Americans in this country. And, James Brown, Jackie Robinson, some of the biopics that he played in. He did a lot of great work. I know his life was dedicated to acting and showing his potential in some of the characters that he played. And he would deeply be missed. He was one of my favorite actors. Just prayers to his family, prayers to those who are affected by him. God's timing for his life. Just remember remember the work that he did for the community and for the world and for the acting genre. So we're going to talk about the Jacob Blake shootings. I got some different perspectives. I sat down and really looked at some stuff about what happened. And the first things first is the media. We talked about the media. Being able to really look at, the more I study about these shootings, the more I get into the media aspect and looking at what media outlets I read, what media outlets that I look into, and study the consistency of what's going on. Look at some statistics between different shootings, different involvements with the police, and looking at the facts first as they're coming out. I know it's a lot of stuff is on investigation, and there's a lot of stuff that's been found out, and just looking at the patterns. That's one thing we got to do is look at the patterns. We have to take time to look at the facts. I said this before, because we can get emotionally attached to something and instead of finding out all the facts. In some aspects, this stuff is always happening. So it has an emotional twist to it, emotional aspect to it. But we got to look at the reasons why. We got to look at what are some of the things that before we can solve a problem, we got to know what is the problem. Before we can beat an enemy, we got to be able to know what the enemy's doing, know the strategy behind it. So when we sit down and look at the media, we know the media has an agenda. We put out stuff to touch on emotions, put out stuff to rehash division and pain due to these shootings. And although the shooting in itself was still incorrectly done, stuff was mishandled, the agenda for the media is to get ratings and to spread information in a way that can play on the emotions of the American people. And it's not, with all the stuff that's going on, elections are coming up and stuff like that. So we got to look at not only find out information, we got to look at what the facts were, and we got to look at other perspectives when it comes to what police do. I'm not by all means condoning the police. I'm at the point where police is definitely, we acknowledge that police need to be reformed. We need to reform every single department. We need to have laws in place to hold more police officers accountable, but it's just taking a different look this time. So the first thing first is talking about the fear aspect. Experiences of me being a police officer, whether it was in the military doing different things in the military as far as security measures and establishing certain things, and also doing some of it outside. You got to look at the fear factor. With all the culture right now, being a police officer right now, whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Indian, it doesn't matter what race you are, but especially in the context, I would imagine the fear factor of a police officer today when you're trying to approach a situation such as sensitive as the way things are, as when it definitely appears to the community, is really building community trust is kind of on a standstill. It's on a hold due to the fact that people are not treating people with respect. Is more or less, instead of police carrying out serving the community, keyword serve the community, they're pretty much walking with a Judge Dredd mindset. If those who haven't seen Judge Dredd, is kind of the person that was also carrying out, execution styles of, instead of arresting people, they basically just shooting and killing people. So in the sense of a fear factor as a police officer, when I walk up to a vehicle and I don't know anything about what I'm getting into, a traffic stop, a basic traffic stop, there's a certain fear factor there. I was listening to a couple of people podcasts, and they was discussing that when there's a lot of videos. Just why I said the media is a big role when we're studying these type of shootings and stuff like that. We need to look at. I would recommend looking at other things from the other side of the coin. I know a lot of people do this, but sometimes we, especially as African Americans, and especially when this stuff happens to us all the time, we're treated a certain type of way. We forget to look at the other aspect of the coin. We don't care about the other aspect of the coin. We look one-sided because it happened to us or someone like us or someone that we know. With police constantly taking this executioner mindset, and instead of going by the law and going by the training policies and going by different things like that, they go to the mindset of, I'm going to take this person's life if it really gets to, if I'm scared. And the fear factor walking up to a traffic stop or walking to a fight or any type of violent encounter, the first thing is to grab your gun. None of the training tactics, none of the policies and procedures that you are under oath by is now dissipated because of the fear factor that you're scared, right? So when I respond to a call, or when someone I knew responds to a call, the first thing, you walk up, you don't know what the expect is going to be. You're nervous, right? And you don't know, your goal is to get home at the end of the day. Your goal is to survive this call and get to the next one, or you survive this call so you can be able to breathe and go and make it through the night. So a lot of times when you're looking at a person, especially African American, you're running someone's tag, right? And you come up with warrants, you come up with different outstanding warrants. In this case, they saying Mr. Blake had an active warrant related to charges of sexual assault, trespassing, disorderly conduct. That's according to what the news media say. And that's what the information that's been gathered so far. Things will continue to air out as time goes on. But when you think of approaching a person with a warrant, you automatically in your mind, for many police officers, it says, "Oh, I got to be careful. I got to be able to, there's a violent or something for some violence or shooting or domestic violence or any type of murder or anything violent related." You're automatically, as an officer, especially if you're a new officer and you haven't been in long, 7 years or less, you're automatically thinking, okay, I got to be careful. You're calling for backup. Your body reaction, your hands start getting sweaty. You start getting nervous. You start getting on that flight and fight response. You're automatically assuming I got my gun. You're not thinking about your training. You're not thinking about, okay, I got tasers. I got other weapons. I got the non-lethal weapons. I got the hard target, the verbal presence. All that stuff goes out the door because we're automatically thinking that this is going to be a dangerous encounter and I want to go home at the end of the day. So when you look at the facts, when you sit there and look at the little facts that are out, when you're talking about Jacob Blake and the fact that he was trying to break up a fight. If I'm responding to a call as a police officer and I'm responding to a fight in progress call, and I'm going in and I'm seeing what's going on, you're in there to serve. You're in the mindset to figure out what's going on, to break the fight up, and to investigate and find out what's going on and try to end it, dissipate that encounter. So despite of what happened, and they didn't have body cams, so we talk about body cams. That's something that's supposed to be mandated to wear as a police officer. The department, that is their job to have accountability for these officers, especially in times like this where you got George Floyd, you got Ahmaud Arbery, you got all these different encounters, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, all these different encounters with African Americans during this time. It would behoove every police department to have this type of stuff in place where body cams are on these officers, because now it's going to be the officer's word against the person they shot. The only caveat with difference between Jacob Blake is that he's still alive. 7 times, yes, he's paralyzed, still in recovery, he's still alive. Now he's going to tell his side of the story, and whoever the officers are, and without the encounters of social media and those who's taking pictures and stuff like that, and those who are recording, the power of the phone is what I call it. The power of the phone, that is going to hold up in court. And that officer that pulled those 7 shots is probably going to get hemmed up. We'll see how details flow. So when you're talking about when you're approaching someone to break up a fight, you pull up warrants. You got warrants on the individual, and it doesn't matter in the days because he had warrants doesn't mean he should be shot 7 times. All right. So your job is to break the fight up, and and find out what's happening. If there's perpetrators or there's someone who, violence is charges being filed, or you're doing your write up for your reports or whatever, then you move into the arrest phase or breakup phase or whatnot. So the key thing is, when it comes to African Americans, we're looking at, already we're being executed for the smallest things. I listened to another podcast where someone's discussing about where and I already know this, but this is some of the stuff where police was formed in slavery times. The police was formed, the criminal justice was formed, and it wasn't for African Americans anyway. That's how it was formed off of slaves. It's formed off African Americans being in the times of where they were becoming free, and then things were getting out of control, and they started to round up African Americans or minorities or any type of delinquent person at that time, according to who was doing the forming of the police. And they target African Americans and started to put them in jail. And for the smallest things, they will get the larger sentence. That's something that's been going on since in our history. So every little thing that's done, it could be something small. Think about it. George Floyd, something small as a bad check or forgery. This Jacob Blake, something small. He was breaking up a fight. He had a warrant. That does not require them to be executed. You know what I'm saying? Ahmaud Arbery, even though it wasn't done by police, it was done by a former police officer and citizen's arrest. Something small as him running to someone's house. That they knew they was there and they didn't have issue with it. So look at the crimes and look at what stuff that's something small. Everything started off something small, and they got executed, death penalty. So this is historic. This builds up in time and history to where African Americans, every time tried by some type of court or public justice or some type of criminal justice entity, whether it's police, judges, court of law, whatever the case may be, even citizens arrest, they're getting pretty much the death penalty. The death penalty has been executed. There's no trial. There's no to see what happened. It's done. It's over. So when we look at African Americans, we always wonder, and the person that was listening in is becoming a norm to where African Americans, males, and even women, we're getting the judge, jury, executioner on the street. There's no chance of just it's not even getting to the point of arrest. It's just shoot and kill. It's an agenda. So when we think about fear as an officer, and someone try to put it in different terms where you got to look from the officer's point of view, I understand that, where you have this fear factor. But you know what I'm saying, if someone isn't complying with you, that's why you have multi-presence. You call for backup. You get your 2, 3, 4, 5 officers there. You don't have to pull your gun. And yeah, they said it was tased a couple of times. He was non-compliant. It happens. It does happen. But when he was walking around to the car, before he even got to the car, you should have already had him on the ground. If you're a police officer and you have to resort to your weapon first chance, and you have help, it's not like you by yourself. It's a different story when you're by yourself, and you feel like you needed to pull the weapon out. But if you got 3 or plus officers at the scene, there's no reason that this man should have been shot 7 times in the back. There's no reason George Floyd should have had a knee on his neck that long. There's no reason none of the other Trayvon, Tamir Rice, Philandro Castile should have been shot in the car that many times. It's no reason for it. You have 3, and I said it last time, you have multiple officers there. So why are you even letting him get to his car? If you say he was going on an arrest, and he had a warrant for him, wrong is wrong, but at the end of the day, he should not have. And if he's beating you, if you're an officer and this one man's beating 3 or 4 officers up, y'all all need to quit. And again, there's no one superhuman, and there's some people, just like Rashard Brooks and all these people, they knock them down or whatever. That's why you have backup. That's why you have multiple officers. You have 3 or 4 officers there. If one man is beating up 3 or 4 officers to the point where you have to pull your gun and shoot him to get him to stop, you need to quit. Don't be a cop anymore. Because not one time did I ever fought people bigger than me. I never had to shoot them. Call for backup. I ain't saying I always won every fight. I ain't saying I got knocked down. You get them down, you hold them down. It's the officers that's done it. I got into it with people 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 200 something pounds. Call for your backup. You got more than one officer. If it takes 8 of y'all, so be it. Because sometimes it's like that. Sometimes the fight ain't always fair. But you do not, and somebody says shoot him in the leg. You're not trained that way. Police officers isn't trained to shoot in the leg. You're trained to shoot center mass. You're trained to shoot at the core. You're not trained to shoot in the leg. Because you're dealing with someone who's on drugs or is incapacitated on drugs, especially high power drugs, PCP, meth, Xans, perks, whatever, uppers, downers, it doesn't matter. It's going to be, that stuff's not going to work. Meth, especially if you're dealing with meth. Meth, they're strong. It's like shooting a spider leg off a spider. They're going to keep coming. If you've ever dealt with someone's on crystal meth and when they're upset and you're trying to take them down, it's going to take a lot. So we got to look at the fear factor. As you become a police officer and you study and do ride-alongs and see these things before you join so you can get an idea. Because in the academy, you're held by a certain standard. You have the use of force continuum for a reason. You don't go from presence to deadly force. You skipped all the other rules. You skipped hard target. You skipped hard soft presence. You skipped non-lethal weapons. You skipped all that. You went straight to the gun. And now the man is wounded and dead, and now this continues to happen. It's a scary situation to be an African-American man, and you walk into your car, and next thing you know, you got 7 bullets in your back. And then the caveat is you got kids there. If you knew you got kids in the car, that should automatically tell you, unless, again, some people might put their kids in the car, guns or weapons in the car to protect their children. But you shouldn't even let him get to his vehicle. If you was going to arrest him, you should arrest him. You have 3 officers. You call for backup. You try to de-escalate. Use your use of force continuum. Call for your help if they ain't already there. And if you got to make an arrest, make an arrest. If he won't comply, you take him down and the force needed. Not overuse, not knees in the neck, and not trying to throw the man to the ground. Take him down with the force needed. Cuff him and take him to jail if you need to. But you should not have let him get to the car. If you're scared that he's going to pull out a weapon and use it, you should not even let him get to the car. You should have took him down right there. These are certain things, a training tool. These are scenario based in the academy. You should be throwing them scenarios. I hope so that the police would throw these scenarios at these officers as they're getting trained. What would you do if you got a guy that's bigger and stronger than you and you're going to the vehicle? You should already have him down. If you got a partner, you take him down. This man could still be alive to get a trial. It might not even be that serious. He had his warrants. He might have got some time or whatever the case may have been, but he's alive. And he's alive now, but he wouldn't be in a position where he's paralyzed from the waist down. He wouldn't be in a position where he's fighting for his life, having his whole intestine removed, dealing with all types of other stuff, dealing with a backlash. Because the officer decided to get scared and use your gun instead of using your training that you've been trained, and you've been in the game for at least 7 years. I don't even count that anymore, but you have knowledge of how to handle a call. You've been going through training. You should be going to training. It's the policies and the procedures, the administrative policies. It's the training. It's the curriculum that Academy established. This is why police officers are failing. This is why a lot of them are going to the weapons. If you get screened, if you're not mentally or fit to do this job, in the sense where you got a first thing result to a gun on your hip, I get it. It's a certain fear factor to the job, because you're dealing with dangerous people. You're dealing with people that don't care for the police. As these shooters continue, the lawlessness keeps increasing, the less respect for police is going to have. I might as well just change the name of Rebuilding Community Trust. Change it to something else, because there's no more building now. Black people do not, I'm telling, like I said last time, if the time continue to go on, police is going to be to the point where it's no welcoming, no even chance of even trying to renegotiate with police at this point. And if they are, it's going to be extremely difficult to do because of these constant shootings and this stuff in the media. Again, the media has a role, and this is their job to demonize the police officers. It's part of an agenda, right? So play devil's advocate. There's police officers that do get shot, and then they approach to the car, and then they get shot up, and they get put their lives on the line. So it's 2 sides to the coin. That's why I say people got to look at everything. There's times with police officers, you try to do the right thing police officers do. They try to not pull their gun out. They try to do things in a decent way and follow use of force continuum. And then they end up getting shot by the criminals. It's the other side of the coin. So you got to look at it. It's a fear factor to the job. So people are trying to protect themselves to do the job. And then there's some people now with the police being demonized, now people trying to protect themselves against the police. It's an agenda that divides the people more and more and more to where the policing is going to be very ineffective at some point. If it ain't already is, it's ineffective because it's no consensus to figure out law. It's no consensus to solve the problem and get the situation resolved or take those drugs off the street. Why? Because now police officers got to be extra careful and because they don't have trust with the community anymore. The community trust has been eradicated. So those who want to do good can't now, because police ain't gonna care to deal with the police. Not even give them a shot to even do anything. Automatically, when you're wearing this badge, it's no longer a personality issue. It's just a blue badge issue. If you're a good person, want to do good, it's going to be very hard because you wear a badge. Because now it's to the point where these protests, and that's another thing I'm going to talk about, these protests, to where it's no longer effective either. You have the yesterday was the march in Washington, D.C., downtown. Very, very, very well done. Very nice, organized. Shows a lot of support. Breonna Taylor's family. I had cousins and friends that went down there to check it out. I stopped through what I could stop through and see some of the stuff there. But that's one thing, is being organized and actually talking about the issues at hand. There's another where people start looting and start destroying property. And this is, again, why it shouldn't be done, because guess what? Now, since the police are being demonized, they're taking away the police powers, in a sense. You're calling in the National Guard to assist. And we talked about that before with the military getting involved. Their training's different. Our training, military for training, is different. We're not trained to stabilize and serve the country. We're trained to go to war. So that war mindset coming to the streets, domestic streets, that's a different ball game there. So they're also walking on eggshells, because they don't want to unleash and kill people either. But then you have citizens that are tired. There's an agenda being pushed with these protests, because now they're people, undercover agents or such as that. They go in and they anticipate destroy the BLM movement by looting, robbing, and shooting, taking their guns. Now people taking up arms. Now they're using the right of their Second Amendment to protect businesses, because you got looters, whether they're actually angry African American people, African black people, or is it just regular people that are claiming to be support of BLM, but they're really there for a different agenda? They're destroying, looting cars and destroying buildings and doing that. Now businesses are getting destroyed. Now homes are getting attacked. And guess what? The people that's in them, they're tired. So they go out with their guns and they start shooting back. Now they're talking about the Kenosha mob, the Kenosha militia. Social media is getting involved. Now they're people pulling people's accounts and Facebook and Twitter and all these now, because they don't want to be associated with a militia being formed that's going against the government, the police. They don't so much federal, going against the city and local and state governments, which is the law enforcement community, the law enforcement agents. So now you got that. Then you got Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse, 17-year-old. He's not even 18, a legal adult. His mind has already been brainwashed. Whoever taught him to take up arms, now he out there with a rifle shooting, killing innocent people. Now he's facing middle charge because he wants to be a cop. The title on the news feed says aspiring cop. So his mind is already twisted. He already been branded as a new Dylan Roof, and he's been branded with all these names because he's going out here and instead of doing something positive, he's shooting, killing innocent people because he's not taught correctly on what having the Second Amendment right means. He shouldn't even had a weapon. So whoever his parents was or whoever had in charge of those weapons failed him too, because they put the gun in his hand to go out here, and he may have a good intent to defend his home or defend his community, but yes, he turned around and shot some protesters. Whether they were doing wrong or whatever it was, he's not trained to know, oh, this is how you operate when it comes to using a weapon in the sense of defending your community. You need to understand what you're doing. Now you're faced with federal charges and murder charges because you out here shooting people, whether you intended to do harm in the name of the citizen of the United States, or in the name of whatever organization or militia or any type of organization you're with. It's agenda that you had. So now you kill innocent people to propose that agenda because you think you want to capitalize on what BLM really stands for. You capitalize on the protests when it turned from something as peaceful protests to now going to gas stations and stopping people from living their lives. You're destroying businesses and homes. You're stopping people from living their normal lives. They need to get stuff done, just like in Minneapolis, where they was destroying businesses and homes and stop people from doing what they got to do because of this. This is not what the movement is intended for. This is not how a protest should be. It shouldn't be looting and robbing and killing and taking stuff. Now people are tired, and as these things continue to get out of hand or continue to grow, it's going to be more of these again. Now you got all these different things. Now people are tired. They're going to start coming out here with guns. They're going to start using them. They're going to start killing people. It's going to be a chaotic anarchy moment because now people want to use their Second Amendment rights. We have to understand what peaceful protest really is. And we have to continue to do things the correct way. I know people are tired. I know people are tired of this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I don't know what else to say or do to solutions to come up with. All I can say is it's a fear factor with police officers that they're the wrong ones. And I say again, if you're not trained and you really need to think long and hard about what you're doing as a cop, especially in these days times, because it's a culture of where police officers, it's hard to be one now. It's a culture. It's a newfound culture where you have to know when you're walking into that uniform that you automatically are the enemy. Whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, it don't matter color. But especially if you're a white cop, you're gonna have to walk. You got to look at yourself as an enemy. So you got to have a really mature mindset to see past what's going on in the hate of people. You got to be able to have a compassionate and kind, a serving heart to be a cop. You can't go in there with, oh, I'm tired of this, and I'm gonna go out here with my head. I'm gonna go out here and anybody who run up on me and put a gun and shoot them. I'm gonna run up on me. I'm gonna have my gun out. That's the first thing people resort to. Forget having all the other stuff on your belt. You got to be patient, cool-headed, level-headed. Look at every situation for what it is. I'm not saying got here some cops are getting hit with stuff and getting hit with bricks and stuff like that. I'm not saying don't sit there and get hit, but you got to understand why people are like where they are. It's always a culture. There's some people that hate for police has been rooted and grounded for people for years. It's not even about black hating cops. It's whites that hate them too. It's all types of people that hate cops. Cops are a hated thing now. So, yeah, it's not right. You got to defend yourself, not get hit with stuff. But you got to, if you're going to be a police officer, you got to still have a serving, compassionate heart to do the job and to really be there for people and try to show them that you care. And it's an individual thing. And every individual comes to one accord and stand and say, you know what? I'm here to serve. I'm here to make the community better, because what's going on is making for the criminal underworld is really rising. They taking advantage of this because they know people they're not going to talk to police. There's no snitch rule. They're not going to talk to police. They're not going to help out with crimes and criminal cases. An old lady gets shot. A little kid. The Cannon Hennett shooting. That didn't get a lot of. That's the thing with the media. They didn't get a lot of media attention. But when it did, everybody's there, which they should be, because it shouldn't be executed. It don't matter the race at this point. If it's white kid or black kid, Asian kid, it don't matter. It should not be getting executed. But especially in that form where he just ride his bike, mind his business, and just being a kid. And now he got shot in the head, execution style. That still ain't right. It don't matter about the race at that point. It don't matter. Shouldn't happen to no black kids. It should happen to no white kids or any other kid of that color. It does not matter. Kids are kids. Right? So, got to be able to have a compassionate heart. Got to be able to deal with the community, because the community, end of the day, people still need the police. Everybody don't have a gun. Everybody don't know how to use it. Everybody don't have the umption to stand up for themselves in that right, where if someone breaks down their home, or someone does something violent, they don't have the gumption to always defend themselves. There are people that are scared of guns. Some people that's there that they just don't know what to do. Everybody don't know how to take up arms. So we got to have something in place to enforce the law and be there and make sure people are safe. That is getting eradicated day by day, because the more shootings continue to happen, the less police are trusted. So when something legit goes down, where police are actually needed to solve a case, people ain't not going to cooperate with them. They're going to dismiss the police, and they feel like it's time to police your own communities. And if that's the case, where police can't do it, I always say rightfully in a legal way, in a way that makes sense. Yes, police your communities. They ain't always taking up guns and shooting people that you see, because everybody don't have that mindset to know how to do things right. So police your communities in the sense of making sure that in a crime or any disruption or chaos, you police yourself accordingly. But it takes to get this connection right with the police. It takes the department to have accountability system in place to hold your officers accountable. That's why you have body cams. That's why you have refresher training. And there has to be something in place. If an officer goes out there and you see it in the power of the phone, social media, click on it, and they go on live, or they go on social media and they see an officer with a gun drawn, and if they record from the start to the finish, and that whole thing is on tape, and they see the officer didn't use de-escalation tactics, didn't use your use of force continuum, if you had 8 other officers or 4 other officers, 3 or more, the rule is 3 or more, and you got one person and somebody end up getting shot, and everything's on tape, officers need to be held accountable. They need jail time. They don't need to be just put on administrative leave. They don't need to be just put into a desk, because all administrative leave means is just going to your desk or going home or somewhere, your badge or whatever. They need to be fired. They need to be in jail. They need to be fired. They need to be in jail. Because there's no reason. What's the point of having police policies and procedures? What's the point of having a curriculum? What's the point of having training? What's the point of having your chain of command there if they allow this stuff to happen? Of course, you can't control every officer, but you have supervisors, you have sergeants, you have captains, you have lieutenants, you have people in place, you have SPOs, you have people that's been on the force 14 plus years, trainers, mentors. You have people in place that should be looking at this stuff and finding a way to police better, effectively. Training, scenarios, having something in place, an algorithm to where, okay, if I got 3+4 officers, you can strengthen some numbers. You ride in the same car. You got 5 or 6 police cars there. You got 6 or 7 officers there. No one should not be shot. 1 versus 6. If that person's beating 6 officers, all of y'all need to quit. All of y'all need to quit. And I said this before, because there's no reason for somebody getting shot. Unless it's deadly force is necessary. Unless this guy has a tomahawk gun, or I mean not tomahawk gun, but an AK-47, or he's just beating y'all, and he pull out a weapon to shoot or hurt another officer. Yes, if he's going to cause harm to self or harms to himself, harms to other officers or other civilians in the area, yes, deadly force even then, but deadly force is authorized. But he ain't caused no harm, man. He ain't got no weapon. He shouldn't be shot. Period. It's very simple. It's very simple. Even at the height of your fear factor, even though you're scared, even though you don't know if you're going home in the day, and you should feel a little bit more comfortable to train, go in training mode, and be able to save a life and get the person to the trial, get him to jail, get him on the trial, so he can get whatever happens to him. Scenarios like that need to be ran. They need to be ran to where, okay, let's have a scenario in the academy or do refresher training to where what happens when, all right, I'm with an African American with 2 warrants. What are some of the scenarios that run through your head? This discussion has to be had, because obviously officers are scared. Period. They're scared because of what's the media. They're scared because of what other happens to other places. They're scared. So now the first thing you do is grab a gun. The damage to the youth. The fact that his kids had to see that is purposely damaging the youth. The youth is getting destroyed. The black youth, the black man, the black boy is getting destroyed because now those little boys that they see their dad getting shot like that. They're experiencing that, and they're scarred for life. So now you just passed on a generation of hate, Mr. Officer. You passed on a generation of hate to another set of police, to another set of group of generation of kids, because now they seen their dad, someone they love and respect, are shot in front of them. Now they're paralyzed. Now his dad is paralyzed. Now he can't. He's going to be hard to them to raise his kids because they're going to see him in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. They're going to see him not being able to play basketball with them no more. They're going to see him not being able to do anything with them on what a dad should do. Because why? Because his life was cut short. His life was hindered now because of an officer scared. So now the youth is damaged. Now you got to not only deal with the damage from Jacob Blake, damage from his immediate family, but now you got to deal with the damage with his children. Now they're going to be walking around with fear in their eyes and having an attitude towards police because of what happened with his dad. And you wonder why people hate police. Again, we got to look at everything. As the stories unfolds, he was breaking up a fight. I respond to a fight in progress call. You're going in there. They're breaking the fight down. You're isolating the individuals, and you're finding out what happened. A lot of times, if you pull a guy and you got a warrant of arrest, he got to go to jail. That's the law. If he gets non-compliant, you call for backup. If you can't handle it yourself, and you take him down. If you need to arrest him, he doesn't want to be arrested. You have your soft control holds. You have your hard control holds. You have things to take him down and put him down on the ground. Get him cuffed. Get him up. Just make sure he's good to go. Put him in the car. Take him to jail. Whatever happens from there, you did your job. Your job is over. It takes no corrections. Takes over. Move him on to court trial. If he gets time, if he don't, he goes away. He goes out. He's done. He gets probation. Whatever happens at that point. But your job as an officer is to get him from point A to point B, get him off to corrections. It's not your job to be judge, jury, and executioner. Call for backup. You got 2-3 other officers. You're a big police officer, 6 foot muscles. You should have no issue taking down dudes, man. It should be no issue. You got 3 or 4. I can understand if it's a women officer. Yes, back up. You got 2, 3 other guys. You're more strength in numbers. You got 3 or plus. It should be no issue. If it's a big boy you taking down, someone that's pretty strong, you got your control. You call for more. Tasers. If tasers don't work, move on to something else. OC, narc, whatever you need to do. Use your resources, your tools. Use the tasers, and then until the officers. If it got to be 8 officers, 9 officers, whatever, how much it take to get this guy down in a safe manner, you what you got to do so the man can live. Because it ain't gonna always be a fair fight. I understand that. I understand it from the officer's perspective. It ain't gonna always be a fair fight. I ain't gonna sit here and say I won all my fights. I needed help. I called. I had people help me. We got him down. I held him down. We fought the guy, laid on top of him, put him in with any move, any control hold I needed to, whatever I need to do. And if they get away from you, call for backup and do a perimeter. Go a perimeter. Keep moving until the guy's caught. Keep moving to the guy's caught. You have a perimeter surrounding. You know the description. You know what he's did. You know what he looks like. Call for perimeter. Get him and take him and get him. I've been in ride-alongs. I've been in positions where people got lost guys, and we got him down. We chased him down. We got a perimeter. We found him. We cuffed him and put him down. We took him. More charges on that person. But anything's better than just shooting a man in the back. You don't never shoot a person in the back. Anything's better than shooting someone. Anything's better than putting something, choking them out until they dead. This is a execution style type of policing. There's no serving. It's no doing the right thing. And even with that, I wonder why you didn't do that for the guy who shot Kenton Henner. He was black. I'm surprised y'all didn't kill him and shoot him down. 5 white child executionally shot in the head and killed him. But then he went in easy, right? Easy. Why you didn't do that for everybody? But for this guy, shot 7 times, George Floyd, knee on the neck. You can't pick and choose. You can't have this executioner style police. Just because he get violent, just because he's non-compliant, he deserve to die. I wonder what it was like if a white dude did it. If he fighting you, busting you in your head, knocking you down, you want to shoot him? Training, bad training, good training. That's what somebody else said. Bad training. One officer was better trained than the other officer. If that's the case, then that's a problem. All officers should be trained. All officers should be trained. It shouldn't be white dude beating the brakes off another white officer or another officer of a different color, and then you just got the gun, but you ain't shooting him. But then as soon as a black cop, somebody who's black that's getting thrown down, he's non-compliant, he automatically gets executed. He automatically is killed, shot, or left for dead. There's something going on with that. It's agenda. So continue to pray, continue to monitor the events, continue to look at everything. Events, I'm sure there's more stuff coming out and more people going to be talking about the shooting, more protests. I'm sure more people's going to get injured and stuff like that. This is the times we're living in. And I have to say this. I know a lot of people isn't Christians. I'm a Christian. And I know people don't want to be religious, but as you can tell, 2020 for the clear vision of 2020. More than ever before, people need to lean into God and start really getting their relationship right. We lost a lot of people this year, whether it's from COVID. Well, I lost people for COVID. I lost people because of these crimes. I lost people out here just life is really hard. Had a conversation with a relative and we sat there and we talked about how life is really hard right now. A lot of people are suffering right now. A lot of minds are going through a lot of pain. People really need to take this seriously. I know people don't want to live their lives and they don't want to have no accountability. That's all it is. All God is doing is holding you accountable. And a lot of people don't want to live their lives and do what they want to do. But as you said, people are leaving here. I lost a relative to this morning. A lot of people that we know are leaving here. A lot of people's lives are being cut short. And if anything doesn't tell people anything, that you really need to get your life right. You need to really sit down, meditate, pray, get in the word, and really look at these things and look at what God is trying to tell you, because it's going to continue to escalate. I keep saying it. It's not something that I'm making up. It's in the scriptures. It's going to escalate. And are you going to either be ready or not? You're either going to be prepared or not. And I keep saying it, and people think it's a joke, but you can tell. You ain't even me have to say nothing. You can see it on the news. I see why people don't want to see the news. They turn the news off. Yeah, media has an agenda, but this is still stuff we need to be aware of around us, what's going on. You need to be aware about your surroundings. You can't. It's no one safe no more. White communities ain't safe no more. It's going to spill over. If this keep happening, it's going to spill over into the white side. It's going to spill over. It's in the neighbor. It's already in the hood. It's going to spill over. So don't keep thinking you're safe and hiding from, I got money, or I'm in a gated community, so I'm going to sit back and look at things on TV. It's going to spill over. Keep killing people unjustly. Keep executing people unjustly. Keep doing this stuff. I'm not saying people, but I'm just saying let this stuff continue to happen. It's going to be assault. It's going to be a chaotic event, and no home is going to be safe. So we have to continue to really be compassion. Compassion is key. Standing up for what's right and being able to really look at a person in the eyes and look at their heart and look at their mind and stop looking at the color of their skin. Everybody isn't a thug. Presidents can say thugs, this and that, they want to. Until you know what thug is, until you know the difference, you can look at a man's character, a woman's character, then instead of looking at the color of their skin and stop thinking about, oh, he's black, he's a savage, or he's an animal, or vice versa. Let's take it the devil's advocate, or you're a white person, you're racist, or you're Asian person, you're racist. Ain't every white person racist. I met some great white people. I met some that stood by me through this difficult time. They're willing to support, because it can go both ways. But it's people in general look at the character and the integrity and the honor and the loyalty of the person and stop looking at the color of their skin. Because at the end of the day, all this stuff, these issues, the division, this racial division is generational, and it shows fear. If you're a racist, you're fearful, because at the end of the day, you're scared of the color. You don't even care about the character. You're going out what your grandma and granddaddy taught you, and that'll be black or white. And as a black person, you're looking at white people as racist because of what happened. It takes a maturity to look past that too, because there are some good white people out here. And just like white people, don't go with your grandma and granddaddy taught you. Don't go with your uncle taught you. Don't go with your neighborhood, your best friends taught you. Learn the person for themselves and get the character in their heart for themselves. Look at the man in the eye and look at their heart and look at their character and say, okay, I ain't going about your color. I ain't going about what's on TV. I ain't going by what's in the media. The media has an agenda to paint a picture of an African-American male as a thug, as a degenerate, as a animal. Not as someone who's college educated, not someone who's an author, not someone who's a business person, not someone who's a preacher or a pastor, not someone who has working on stem cell research, or an artist, or a teacher, or even a police officer that loves the community. You look at him as an animal. It's all categorization. The same with white people. You have to change that mindset. Start with the youth. Learn to love people. Deputy Brian Woodard shows that example. You don't have to hate. You don't have to sit here and be racial, because this racial division is going to continue to fuel this fire. So that's all I have. I hope people really get this message. Get your life together. Take time to go before the God. If you don't believe in God, give him a chance. He's good. He will help. He will mend. But if you hurt and you feel like you've been hurt by racism, or hurt by what someone did to you, or whatever case may be, whether it's black, white, indifferent, give God a shot and let him heal your heart, and let him show that end of the day, everybody ain't as bad as you think they are. Everybody's not as bad as you think you are. I know we got our differences and our preferences. People, saying you might like country music. I might like hip hop. But at the end of the day, everybody got their preferences. But at the end of the day, you can get along. We can share some common ground to be able to know that this is wrong, that this is getting out of hand. So please share. Please pass it on. If I offended you, I'm not even sorry. I'm tired of it. Tired of the racism. Tired of the unjust killings. I'm tired of I have to carry around my weapon in my car because I got to protect my kids. I'm tired of that stuff. So I'm not sorry about what I said. People need to understand that we're people too. End of the day, yes, black lives, all lives matter. It don't even matter, but black lives do matter in this situation. And we're the ones taking the brunt at the end of the day. We're the ones got to be taking the cost. Two killings in last 2-3 months, unjustly, execution style. One on camera choked out, and the other one shot. I'm sorry, not 2 deaths. 1 death and one. Jacob Blake is still living. My apologies for that. Jacob Blake is still alive, and I pray that he's healing. I pray that he recovers. Pray for his family. I pray for justice for Breonna Taylor. I continue to pray for justice for Ahmaud Arbery, and I continue to pray for all African American men and women that's dealing with this or dealing with something like this, and also pray for those who have compassion in their hearts to stand with us and say this is wrong and stand and help us get through this trying time. To get reform, pray for the Congress, get in there and come up with some laws and hold police officers, police departments accountable. Be able to say, hey, this is wrong. It needs to be fixed. It's broken. Fix it or get out. Fix it or quit. You've been there 17 years and you have this idea that policing is old style of way policing when you know you got to adapt and go for the justice. Are you serving or are you just doing what you want to do? Or how many crimes are you solving right now by doing the way you're doing it? If you're not, how are you helping the community right now? Because no one trusts you right now. Police officers, no one trusts you right now. So how are you getting things solved? By the way you're doing things. It's always room for improvement. There's always room for growth. And if you really want to serve and help the community and do what true policing is, which is protecting the community in the righteous way and actually getting rid of crime, actual criminals, which ways can you make changes better? Not by just first thing you do, pull out a gun out. So www.rebellioncommunitytrust.org. I'm going to post some new stuff on the page. I have the teaching for the fruit of poisonous doctrine, along with the exclusionary rule. I've worked on it. I just haven't got a chance to really do it because I've been focusing on this event. Continue to support the businesses that we have. A lot of businesses we're trying to make change ministry as well. If you want shirts, if you want us to donate, we're trying to send minorities to college for next year for school for those who's going to college. Please comment below. Please, I'll put my email on the page if you want to check it out and be able to support and donate to get a shirt. For all the other businesses on there, please support them. Step. You got my business for Ovino on the go. We got a lot of different businesses on there. Just check it out on the page. Also, if you want to do into IULs and retirement accounts, again, please let me know. We got BPMs we can put you on. You can get information. Is this the time to invest in your retirement? Invest in cash value. If you want to build a business and take out money tax free. If you want to learn how to build your stuff up and get you enough for your children, let me know. Leave in the comments. Definitely support. All right. So be blessed. Stay tuned for the next video. Please share. Thank you. Be blessed.